Sportin Beards.
Sportin Beards, how's it going, Doyce?
It's going, man. We are not in the same room this time.
We aren't. We've tried this one other time unsuccessfully in a way.
Didn't work too well. Yeah. It half worked.
Halfway, yeah. We got, because we were limited on time.
Yeah.
The Zoom calls.
Shouldn't be a problem this time.
This will no longer be a problem. So, our second Monday episode.
Yeah. Got the Monday Night Football games going on.
Yeah, which have been
not
pretty
great.
Crazy so far. I mean, just how crazy.
Wise.
Yeah, they haven't been competitive. However, Buffalo looks so good. Oh,
yeah,
man.
They do.
I've
been trying to watch
the first time.
Yeah, I heard
this season in like the third quarter, and then they muffed the punt and they got the ball back anyways.
Yeah, I was driving back home because I was over at the house doing some last minute things before we put it up on the market tomorrow and take the pictures and all that good stuff. So I was over there doing a little bit of that. So I was listening to one of the games on the radio on the way home, and I was listening to the ticket, and they had the Minnesota Philly game, and they like broke in. It was like we're just going to fill you in on what's happening in New York. The Buffalo Bills have punted. The Buffalo Bills have punted.
That is great. That's awesome.
But the punt was muffed, and so even when they punt, they still get a positive play out of it.
Yeah, I even saw their Twitter account tweeted out, maybe we should punt more often. I was like, I guess so, maybe.
But these Monday night games, I'm upset.
Uh-oh.
I'm upset. The reason that I'm upset,
let us hear it,
is that I was in a very tightly contested fantasy matchup against Kyler.
In our Dynasty League?
In our Dynasty League.
All right.
And so it's now looking like for the second week in a row, I'm going to score more than basically anybody, but not win. And so Chris has scored enough now to where I'm not going to be 0-2 and leading the league in scoring. But that was on the cards. I'm going to be second in the league in scoring, but 0-2.
Oh man,
I'm not sure how that's possible.
Fantasy football.
Yeah, not great. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. So it's going into tonight. I was up by 25, I think it was, and he has Josh Allen, and I'm not remembering his first name. Knox, the tight end.
Dawson
Knox. That's it. And I have AJ Brown and Treylon Burks.
And AJ Brown went into the blue tent. I don't know if he's come back. Has AJ Brown come back yet? I don't think AJ Brown's come back out yet. So
yeah. So not a great situation for me to be in.
Yeah, we'll have to check and see what exactly happened to AJ Brown. I missed that play. I was watching the Buffalo one.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why, because that one's way out of reach. Oh my gosh. Buffalo's punting again. Buffalo is punting again.
Breaking news. Yeah, I've got the Vikings and Eagles on now. Haven't got my work PC up, so I've only got one game on.
Gotcha. They're doing a good job of kind of bouncing back between both of them on both broadcasts, kind of showing updates for each one. And of course, I keep accidentally looking at the wrong scoreboard on these because I'm looking at the one that's telling me about the other game.
Well, this only happened one time, so right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's usually it's usually the first week. And my theory, they haven't told us why, but my theory is they wanted Troy and Joe to have their own Monday Night Football
set aside.
Started. Yeah.
Which, as an aside, I meant to mention this the other week, but did you know that that in order to be let out of their contract with Fox, ESPN traded them they traded a game, the rights to a broadcast
What?
of a week 1 college football game, and it was the Penn State and Purdue game was traded for Joe Buck.
That is absolutely wild.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
Joe
know
Buck,
that.
even though he's never played professionally, has now been traded.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
I
we're
meant
gonna
to mention
start
that a couple of
trading
weeks ago.
broadcasters now.
Right.
That's nuts, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty
A
funny.
very interesting fact. That is funny. I haven't really been listening as much to that one because the Buffalo one started first, and so
Right.
that's the one I had my main TV on. So I
Yeah, I
haven't
mean
really got to hear them tonight, but they sounded. Or you're right, we
we've
didn't really
heard
listen to them last week
we've heard
either.
Buck and Aikman together for 20 years. I'm sure it's still the same
That's
thing
true.
basically.
I know, but it's
Just not
soothing
as
to the
many
ears.
not as many random weird like here's what's coming out on Fox.
Yeah, that's true.
Just don't have the Joe Buck spot for random TV shows.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Wait. So is he not going to be doing the World Series anymore?
No, he's not. It's gonna be
Ken
Joe
Rosenthal,
Davis. It's gonna be Joe Davis, I think, and
John
it's
Schmaltz.
still Schmaltz.
All right.
But I think it's Joe. I think it's Joe
Wow.
Davis is going to be doing the World
That's going to
Series
be
this
kind
year.
of different too. I kind of was getting used to Joe Buck, like
Yeah,
I wasn't a big fan really, but it grew on me.
yeah. I've been getting used to hearing his voice, every other year in the World Series.
Right. Oh, well, I was going to say same because I always watch it regardless.
Right. No, it's yeah.
Not this
Anyway,
shitty Astros.
well,
No,
it's an even year, so probably not
right.
because they went
No,
in
odd balls.
17, 19, and 21. They didn't in 18 and 20.
So almost like the Giants, except they
Well,
won theirs.
yeah, one
And
difference. And the Giants also missed the playoffs the years in between, whereas the Astros still made the championship series.
all right. I guess we'll talk a little bit about. No, wait, we're not doing baseball yet. You almost made me.
I mean,
Just go
we can do baseball first if you want. I know we talked about doing the top 25 first, but it's up to you.
I guess it doesn't matter at this point because
We're doing both before
yeah,
we get to the NFL, so
true. So I do want to say one kind of cool thing.
okay.
It actually has to do with football and baseball. For the first time since September 27th, 2009, so almost 13 years, like damn near, all four New York major sports teams won. Well, baseball, the Mets and the Yankees, the Giants and the Jets all won yesterday.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah, I
was
saw that.
impressive too. So I just thought that was cool.
Yeah.
We'll obviously get into the football a little bit later.
Yeah. Yeah, we will.
Yes.
With both of those games, I have thoughts.
Yes, it was crazy. But the fact that the Yankees and Mets also both won, who are both in pretty tight playoff races now. Obviously the Mets even closer. But the
Yeah.
Yankees, it's 5 right now, if I'm not mistaken, and
Well, the Astros
that's
kind of helped the Yankees out there a little bit by beating the Rays today.
well, Toronto's the one right there on their ass right now.
Yeah, it's 5.5. 5.5. So it's still, it's still in touching distance, but it's the longer it stays at 5, obviously, the less likely it becomes.
Yeah, that's true.
But we need the Yankees to win the division because if I believe I always forget, but I think if the Yankees end up going in as a wild card, that creates a scenario where the Astros and Yankees could play in the division series instead of the ALCS. And I think baseball deserves Astros, Yankees in the ALCS.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. And then I'd love to see Braves Dodgers again. I mean, why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean,
The hard part about that is The Cardinals are looking pretty good.
And the Mets are still not
And the
Metsing.
Mets are still there, dude. So it'd
I'm
be
still
tough to finally get
surprised.
that, but me too, man. Me too. All
I
right,
guess
so
if we're doing baseball, let's just do it.
yeah, let's dive into some baseball.
Enough farting around. Let's get into some stuff. You want to start?
So I'll go ahead and start. Did you see what my boy Spencer Strider for the Braves did?
What do you do now?
He is the fastest to 200 strikeouts in a season of all time. He beat. I'll let you actually
Number of
guess the
starts?
two. Yeah, so 130 innings to get to 200 strikeouts.
Okay, so number of innings.
Yeah, so number of innings. So 130 on the dot. The one that he beat was 130 and 2/3 innings, so barely beat him. Do you have any guess who did hold the record?
Randy Johnson.
It was Randy Johnson. Do you know the year?
I'm gonna say 2000.
2001. Dang, I thought you were
That
going
was
to
the
get it.
other one.
You were
I was gonna go
close.
2001, but I was like, nah, it's too obvious. I'll go 2000.
You should have gone with your gut.
I mean, he won the Cy Young both years, so I feel like both are
Fair. It
valid
could have been
guesses.
either. Yes, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if he's probably on the list in that other year too. So, and then in 2019, actually, nope, I'm mixing that stat up with Framber Valdez.
I've got some Fromber, the
So, but
franchise.
no, so Spencer Strider, and then he even had some really good compliments from one of his teammates saying that I'm trying to remember who it was. I don't remember, but he was saying he's got like DeGrom stuff, like he's right up there with DeGrom, and I'm like, man, I mean, he has been pitching
That's
really
high
well this
praise.
season. That is very high praise, and for a rookie, dude, he's setting rookie pitching numbers for the Braves big time, and so
Yeah, I mean he's really impressive. Really
he's been
impressive.
he's been really fun to watch. I really
Like
like Spencer Strider, and
he's on some 1998 Kerry Wood shit right now.
ooh, yeah, there you go. That's a good comparison. Yeah, and I mean, right when the Braves needed somebody to step up and be
Yeah.
that guy, and he totally has.
Yeah, we've talked about before, like they've had all these position players come up, but a lot of the young pitching, other than oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? The lefty, World Series hero. Why am I blanking on his name?
Not Mentor.
The
Talking about out
starter.
of the bullpen, right?
No,
No, the
the
starter,
starter.
Max Fried.
Max Fried. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Outside of Fried, like a
Oh,
lot of
I
their
was thinking
young,
Matson. Or Matzik. Tyler
yeah.
Matzik.
No, I was thinking young pitchers. Like a lot of their pitching prospects haven't necessarily panned out, mostly through injury, a lot of it. But to
True.
see, them finally have a super young starting pitcher come up and have success, that's
And he's one of the ones they have
good.
locked down for a while too.
Right.
So
Yeah, because
definitely
he's a rookie.
promising.
They've got him for at least 6 years.
Well, yeah, true.
But I guess I'll go to the franchise first.
All
That's
right, let's talk about it.
Framber Valdez for non-Astros fans. We call him the franchise, franchise,
I
something like that.
I saw that on Twitter or maybe Instagram,
it's
whatever. I
it's a
saw it
good
on
bit.
something.
It's a good
Yeah,
bit.
it
He
is.
actually, he's actually worn that shirt too. Like it's a
Dude, that's
local
awesome.
it's a local company that made the shirts a couple of years
Okay.
ago, I think. And there was one day where he like wore it to a press conference, like a post game press conference, and they're like,
I love
"Hey,
it.
it's our shirt."
That's great, dude. That is great.
Anyway, you
I
actually
mean,
text. Go ahead.
go ahead.
I
No,
was
no,
gonna say
you.
you actually texted me about this and like, why didn't you mention this on Saturday? And the
Right.
reason that I didn't is because he hadn't actually broke the record yet, and I didn't
And
want
you
to
didn't
jinx
want to
it.
jinx it. Hey,
Yeah,
fair enough. And when you told me that, I was like, that was actually very smart. I'm
yeah.
proud of you, Doyce.
So and I knew that he was pitching on Sunday, which the next day,
The only
and
reason
so
I texted you and asked that though is just because it was impressive that he even tied the record.
right,
So like I was impressed by that, but I didn't think about not wanting to jinx it. So that was
right.
smart.
So Framber Valdez has now, so he's one away from the all-time record of quality starts in a row at 26, which is a tie between Jacob deGrom and Bob Gibson.
We've
But
talked about that
we've talked about this. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago
when
when he was
on the
starting to
way.
rack them up, and he was kind of going up the list. But he's now at the top of the list for within a same season. So he's had 25 consecutive quality starts this season, which breaks the tie that he had with Jacob deGrom for consecutive starts within the same season.
Yeah, that was 2019, which was what I was confusing a second ago with.
So the other two that have it that he broke the two that are ahead of him in total quality starts in a row are Jacob deGrom and Bob Gibson. Their same seasons were 24 in a row for deGrom in 2018, and then it carried over for 2 starts into 2019. And then Bob Gibson at the tail end, like the last month of 67, he started his streak, and then he had 22 straight to start 1968.
Damn.
That's the famous Bob Gibson 1968 112 ERA year.
Yeah,
that started with 22 consecutive quality starts. Now, let me be clear. Both of those guys have more impressive numbers during their streaks.
Right. But so hey,
I looked at the numbers, and during Jacob deGrom's 26 game streak, he was 9-9 with
Mets
with a 1.55 ERA in those 26 starts.
Yeah, that is unfair to have a record like that.
Yeah, if you think that's good. If you think that's good. Bob Gibson during his 26 start streak, he was 17-6 with a is that right? That's a 0.90 ERA.
Wow.
0.90.
And he was pitching complete games.
It was a lot of complete games. It was a lot of complete games.
He wasn't fucking around back then, dude.
He was throwing a lot of innings, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, yeah, Framber Valdez, dude, on fire. It's very impressive. We'll go ahead and clarify again. So, a quality start is at least 6 innings with 2 or less earned runs.
3 or less.
3 or less earned runs. And dude, that's just putting your team in a position to win, especially in the American League, because you're not as many games are going to be won 3-2, 2-1 in the American League. So if you're holding guys to teams to 3 runs, you're putting your team in perfect position to win.
Yeah. Just give yourself a shot. Easy for me to say.
Yeah, your shelf. Yeah. So, man, and the Astros, they just clinched, didn't they? Today?
They did. They clinched the division and a first round bye today.
And a first round bye. Okay. That's right. Because 2 people get byes now, right?
Yeah. The first and second seed both get byes. The magic number over the Yankees, I think, is 7 right now for best record in the American League. Okay. They're not catching the Dodgers, so the Dodgers are the only team that would have home field against the Astros.
Gotcha. And that would only be
in the World Series, which the Astros have proven that they can beat the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium in a Game 7.
True. Kershaw coming back tonight.
AJ Brown's back because he just scored points for me.
Okay. AJ Brown back in the game, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So I'm within
Eagles
1 point.
Pick. Man, I picked the Vikings in this one.
Not looking good.
No.
They just need to throw another touchdown to AJ Brown, though.
I wouldn't be upset. I've got him in one of mine too.
Do you have anything else for baseball? I've got.
I do have. Did you see Hunter Green?
Did he
what
throw
he did.
a million 100-mile-an-hour fastballs again?
Yes, he did. That is exactly what he did. It was against the Cardinals. One of the coolest parts about it, though, he ended up getting some really cool gifts from the other team. He got a Yachty, Wayno, and Pujols jerseys all signed and with like
Nice.
messages on the back, and so that was pretty sweet. I mean, dude, he is like we've talked about flamethrowers in the baseball before. He is a legit flamethrower.
As a
Like,
starter. As a
yes,
starter.
it's insane. Yeah, he threw. I want to say it was like 19, over 19 or something like that. Pitches over 100 miles an hour. Absurd.
It's
I think it was more than that.
it's
Because now that
insane.
I'm saying that, that sounds like too little. I'm pretty sure it was
Some of
more
the
than
things
that.
these guys are doing nowadays, like I don't know if you saw guy that came up for the Astros recently and made his debut. Hunter, is it Hunter? I think it's Hunter Brown.
I
He
don't think
threw a
so.
96-mile-an-hour slider.
That's
Like
ridiculous.
it's not a 100-mile-an-hour splinker, but
Right.
throwing a slider
That's up there, dude.
that moves like a slider at 96, like that, and it's almost like his fastball is like 98 to 100, and then he throws 96 on the slider. Like how do you
Yeah.
hit that?
Probably coming in at the same slot too, and then just
Same arm angle.
slide
It's
right out of
ridiculous.
there. Oh man. But especially being with the Astros, I mean, they know how to cheat and get that spin rate up.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I'm just kidding. No, but they do know how to get the spin rate up and actually help pitchers get the most out of their pitches. So
They
I
do.
wasn't.
They've got
I
a
just had.
history of that.
Yeah, I was. I had to throw a little slide out there, but because I do actually know that they are really good at that. So,
Yeah, they're one
uh,
of the best pitcher development teams in
right.
baseball. I mean, if you look at their rotation, Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, Luis Garcia,
Shit,
Jose
even Verlander, since he's been
Urquidy,
with the Astros, it seems like he's got a
Lance
higher spin rate.
McCullers, now Hunter Brown. Like the only starting pitcher on the Astros, and the Astros have like 7 guys that are good starting pitchers. The only one of those that is not drafted and developed or signed and developed by the Astros is Justin Verlander. And
But
they've got like
like I
7
was
good
saying,
ones.
they've kind of helped even get him to get the most out of his stuff.
Right. I mean,
So,
he had kind of, so he had started coming back up when he was traded to the Astros. He was kind of on the uptick again, but he came to the Astros on another level, just absolutely another level.
right.
So I do have one more thing for baseball, other than the thing that that we probably both have, which is, I guess let's just go. Aaron Judge had two more home runs
Yes.
yesterday. He's up to
Which
59, so he's 2
uh,
away. Just
2
2.
away and got plenty of time.
Yeah, he's got like 15, 16 games left. He can get
Yep.
there. The other
Wait,
thing that I had though, you got something?
I did have one more. I just remembered
Okay.
that I forgot to put down. Did you see Pete Alonso got pretty pissed off about a hit by pitch? I think it was yesterday.
No.
So the reason being, apparently, the Mets have been hit 101 times this season.
Yeah, I knew about that. They've been hit a lot.
Which is the most in the majors this year. They are only 3 hit by pitches away from a major league record in a season,
Oh,
and they
nice.
still have like 15 games left to play.
Why are you getting upset then? Just, go get a record.
I mean, well, what's his name? Showalter said it the best way. He was like, that's not a record you want to get.
No, it's not. But it's still a record. You're still putting your name in the record book.
I guess. But yeah, no, they got pretty heated. Benches cleared, and of course the dugouts all jogged out there and stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't really turn into much, but I just thought that was crazy that they've been hit that many times.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's definitely been a lot. I mean, it's one of those things. I think though, if you've been hit that many times, maybe it's a little tiny teensy bit about you. Maybe you just have a bunch of guys that stand on the plate.
True. It didn't look like Pete really was, but
I mean, sometimes it just happens.
True.
So the last thing that I've got is little bit of National League Cy Young discussion.
Okay.
So Sandy Alcantara and Julio Urias. Now, I don't think it's close, but there are going to be people that vote Urias in this. Reason being is that he's 17-7 with a 2.27 ERA, which is incredible. It's Cy Young worthy.
Oh yeah.
But let me give you some Sandy Alcantara numbers. So he's 13-8, which doesn't matter. I mean, it will matter. It shouldn't. 2.37 ERA. He's thrown 56 more innings than Urias. He's thrown 212 innings. Second place is 187. He's got 20 plus innings on second place in innings pitched, and he's pitching with a 2.37 ERA. That's insane.
He's doing some nasty stuff down there.
So he's thrown by himself. He's thrown more complete games than any other team in baseball has.
Yeah, he just had another one, right?
So he's got 5 complete games as of this morning when I was looking at this, unless he threw one tonight. He's got 5 complete games. He's pitched 9 innings 6 times, which the rest of baseball combined have thrown 9 innings, have had a starter throw 9 innings 18 times. He's done it 6.
So he's a quarter of all of them.
In order to find somebody that has more complete games than Sandy Alcantara, you have to give them all of 22, all of 21, and all of 20 to get to a person that has more complete games than Alcantara has this season, which is Adam Wainwright has had 6 since the start of 2020.
Damn.
And again, Alcantara has 5 this season. And he also had 1 last year and 1 in 20. So he's actually had 7 since the start of 2020. But in order to get somebody that has more over the last 3 years, only one person has more over the last 3 years than he has this season.
Jeez.
It's crazy.
All right. So how does he not get the Cy Young?
The only reason,
right?
The only reason somebody would not give him the Cy Young is they'll say, well, Urias is pitching for the Dodgers, a team that's going for the title, and Alcantara is pitching for the Marlins. But this isn't MVP. This is who's the best pitcher. Alcantara is the best pitcher. He's the most deserving pitcher.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be close.
Far. Yeah, that's nuts, dude.
An extra 50 innings, 50.
Yeah,
and only point 0.1 more runs per 9 innings for 50 extra innings.
That's
insane.
That's legendary shit right there.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's insane.
Yep.
That's all I've got on baseball. We've probably gone a little too far.
A little bit.
It happens.
Yeah, so we say this every time, but we'll just kind of go through your top 25.
I'm run through it. Just going to run through it. We'll see. I'll do my best. So I have actually changed this top 25 like 3 times since Saturday night.
Oh shit.
I can't decide. Would you quit? That dog. He got out twice yesterday, running around the freaking neighborhood, chasing him down. Quit.
Damn.
Anyway, top 25.
Top 25.
If you could see my if you can see that, like I've got stuff moving around on these notes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I dig it. Well, obviously, like we even talked about on our last episode, there wasn't a whole bunch of craziness that happened too much within the top 25.
Yeah,
except for those.
It's just me, it's just me, kind of feeling certain ways about certain teams and moving them around as such. Anyway, let's do it. So on the out, coming out of the top 25, number 25, Appalachian State. I know they didn't lose, but They're falling out because somebody else had to get in.
Um, game day
BYU
was
is out. They were 18 last week. They made it 1 week in my top 25. Wake Forest is number 25. They were at 24. Texas stays at
BY who?
24. Huh?
BY who?
Yeah. Gone. That's who. Cincinnati falls from 22 to 23. UNC falls from 21 to 22. UNC didn't play, but they still fall nonetheless because, again, teams are jumping in.
They didn't. Oh yeah, I guess I forgot that college also does a bye week sometimes.
Yeah, and UNC's actually got 2 bye weeks because they played in week 0.
Okay.
So their first bye week was this week. Michigan State, I almost dropped them out completely. They were at 11. They got manhandled by Washington. They fall to 21. Oregon jumps back into the rankings. They were unranked. They've gone up to 20. I kind of feel like I should have them higher, but TBD.
We gotta prove it again.
Yeah. Florida goes from 20 to 19. I kind of feel like I've got them too high. They struggled with South Florida after getting manhandled in the second half against Kentucky the week before. So I kind of feel like they should be lower, but I'm keeping them kind of where they're at.
Okay.
NC State goes from 19 to 18. Washington jumps into the rankings up to 17 after they just obliterated Michigan State. Miami falls from 15 to 16. Didn't fall far. It's because they played pretty well against A&M. They had a difficult time moving the ball, but A&M has a really good defense. A&M jumps up from 16 to 15, so they literally just swapped spots in my rankings. Neither one of them really deserved to move up, but they didn't really deserve to move down either.
Yeah, so they
so I just flip-flopped them. Ole Miss goes from 15 to 14. They handled their business. They beat a really bad Georgia Tech team, but they handled their business and blew them out like they're supposed to.
Right.
Utah goes from 14 to 13. I think they put up 70.
70 to 3. Or like 70.
No, that was 2 weeks
73 to 7.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. This week I don't remember what they did. They won. I know that.
Okay.
Oklahoma State stays at 12. USC jumps Oklahoma State and goes from 13 to 11. Kind of feel like I have to have USC a little higher, but they're at 11 for now. Tennessee stays at 10. Kentucky stays at 9. I really like Kentucky. Arkansas falls from 7 down to 8. Clemson falls from 6 to 7. I don't like what I see from their offense. I just don't.
Yeah.
Penn State jumps up to number 6 from 8. Almost put them number 1. Okay. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Not kidding.
Oklahoma goes from 7 to 5. They look really good. I don't know how much to take from their defense, but they did look really good. And the top 4 remains the same. Michigan at 4, Ohio State at 3, Bama number 2, and Georgia number 1.
Yeah. And the way it's kind of been looking, I wouldn't be surprised to see those 4 at the end. Personally.
I'm going to just, be all in for Penn State again. I think Penn State beats Michigan.
Okay. I dig it, dude. I dig that.
The only reason Michigan's still number 4 instead of Oklahoma or Penn State is just because I had them 4 and they've blown out everybody they've played, but they have played a crap schedule.
So that actually brings me to, well, first I got to say, after the way the first few weeks have gone, I really do feel like there is a good chance Georgia can actually go back to back. I was a little skeptical going into the season, but now seeing what I've seen so far, I mean, dude,
they're the best team. They are.
They look like there's not a lot of teams that could beat them. So
their offense is better than it was last year.
And their defense doesn't look like it left or lost 6 guys to the NFL in the first
Yeah.
round. It doesn't look like that, which is
Their
crazy.
defense still has just as much talent as they did. They're not as experienced as that team last year on defense, but
Or as
they
big.
still have all the
Jordan
talent.
Davis was a big boy.
I mean that's half their offensive line in terms of mass.
Yeah. Oh man. So with that being said, I think this weekend really helped me realize why I like the NFL more than I like college.
Okay.
And I think it's because every week in the NFL, any given Sunday, you're going to have the best against the best.
Yeah, I get that.
It's really good matchups. You're not going to have any of these. I mean, you do have blowouts like Buffalo just beat the shit out of Tennessee. It's going to happen, but you can't, it's less predictable. So in college, obviously this weekend, there were so many blowouts and it was like the beginning of like Saturday for me during college football, the whole fun part is supposed to be in the morning. Like the morning games are supposed to be like get you going and make you want to stay up till the end of the day.
Yeah, which I mean, this past weekend, the morning games were bad. Usually there's at least a couple of really good games.
That's true. But it just seemed like the matchups, which this is every year. It's not like this was anything different in college football. This happens every year, which is, like I said, I think that's why I think I like the NFL more is because you don't end up having any kind of like duds, if you will.
I get it. I do. I like the variety of
the
college.
environment in college football.
Yes.
It can't
you can't beat it.
I mean, especially when it gets down to when it's cold and like you got like rivalries going down and like you can't beat that.
College football is the one thing here in the US that can honestly compare with European soccer
Except
or South
UCLA.
American soccer, except for UCLA.
Yeah.
UCLA, those 3 people that were there, they saw a good game.
UC and L were there. A didn't make it.
Yeah, A wasn't able to show up.
Yeah, I don't
Good
get
Lord.
that. Because dude, you look at every other game and like
packed.
They're packed.
Absolutely
man.
packed.
Yes.
Every game.
I don't get that.
Every other game, you've got like people outside, like banging on the doors, trying to get into the stadium. UCLA, I'm pretty sure you could see a tumbleweed go by.
Yeah, and it's actually like one
of
the highest per capita cities population wise.
I don't know why this made me just think of this, but I guess because we're talking NFL and college a little bit at the same time. Did you see the video of Eli Manning doing the walk-on thing at Penn State? Yeah,
I did.
I saw it
just
today.
A little bit ago. Yeah, I just saw it while I was waiting to start this, and I was like, dude,
it was like Chad Power.
Chad Powers.
Yeah. The coach is like, I kind of like this guy. He's got a little something.
Right, dude. And one of the kids was like, dude's got to be like at least 32. Jokes on you, man. He's fucking in his 40s.
Yeah. No, that was hilarious.
I liked it too. That was great. And apparently he has a show, Eli's Places. I thought Peyton just had Peyton's Places, but I guess Eli has one too now. And that was kind of like a little ad for it. And so I might actually check it out because that was great. I want to see more of that. So if there's more of that in an episode somewhere, I'm probably going to go find it.
Yeah, no, that was a fun video. If anybody has like 5 minutes to spare, go check out the video. It's pretty great.
It's good. They disguise him pretty well. Like he did not look like Eli Manning.
when he was like, I kind of look a little bit like McConaughey in Dazed and Confused. All right.
Greatness. It was greatness.
Anyway,
all right.
I don't know. How are we doing on time?
I don't even know.
I feel like we're way over.
No, there's no timer here, but I remember looking at the clock and it was 9:12 when we started, and it's 9:50. So I think we're doing good.
Yeah. I just need one AJ Brown catch. Just one.
That's what you're looking at.
Just,
I'm
I
like,
just
is
need
he
one.
trying to figure out how long this podcast is? Like, is
Well, I
that?
started
But no,
to, but
you're
I had
fantasy.
sleeper, I had sleeper up, and I just looked down and I'm like, oh, so I'm 0.14 behind. 0.14, Chase.
I'm cheering for you, man. But you better hope that Minnesota scores so that the Eagles have to try and do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
At
right
this
now, there's
point,
9 minutes left in the fourth
at this
quarter.
point, just put him in the backfield and let him run. I only need like not even 10 yards out of him.
Dude, so last week when I lost to Zach by like point 0.4,
Mm-hmm.
like after like Wednesday, nothing had changed. I was like, all right, that shit sucks. Well, this week, Zach messages me and he's like, dude, apparently there was a stat correction and you beat me. And I was like, what?
Wait,
And I went
what?
and looked and there was a stat correction and I beat him.
In our league?
Not in our dynasty,
Okay.
in the OG league, the one that you ditched us on.
Yeah. I've already got two. I don't need a third one. A third one I'm spending money on. Like,
oh, I know. I feel you. I'm putting too much money into fantasy. I've only won one time, 2016, and I just keep putting it. I mean, I'm in championships every year. I just can't win that last one.
I score the most points every year. Never make the playoffs, but
yeah, we will. We are going to be changing that, by the way.
Okay.
Instead of third place getting any money, we're going to do most points. It won't be this year because we already put it all in.
That's all right. That's going to be me every year. Just
I'm ready for it. All right, so we got to get into some NFL. We can't. I mean, I guess we could, but we're not going to really take a break since we're doing this recording. At least
that's fine.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm going to skip the first one that they have up here on the list on ESPN because it's one that you said you had some feelings for. So first I'll say, dude, are the Lions good?
They looked pretty good.
They look really good.
I tell you who looks really good. Aiden Hutchinson.
Dude.
Looked really good.
Yes,
3 sacks.
Yeah.
3?
Oh, man. 3 in the first half.
Yeah.
Like
when they were putting them on. So are we going to be calling this week Comeback Sunday?
I mean, basically, that's what it was.
It was like halftime, nothing's close. Fourth quarter, they're all close.
Yeah, I know, dude. It was pretty wild. See, unfortunately, our baseball game was at 11:45 on Sunday. So I didn't get home till like 2:30 in the afternoon. So I caught, luckily for me,
the craziness.
That was when it was kind of crazy. So I did get to see the fourth quarter of a lot of those. But I had to go back and watch highlights and stuff for the rest of the games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the NFL, like you can't watch all the games all the time. Even with Red Zone, like you're still not catching everything.
Right, and that's what I usually do. So last week when I didn't have baseball during the middle of the noon games, we had our third TV down here, so we had Red Zone and both local games on.
Right.
So we were trying to get it as much as we could.
You don't get like Sunday ticket?
I don't have Sunday tickets.
See, that's one thing I like better about college. Every single game is on regular TV.
Something.
Like you just have to have
not necessarily regular TV.
You just have to have Fubo or Sling or one of these services as your provider, and you can watch basically any game that's not on the Pac-12 network.
True. Yeah. That is something I like about it too. I mean, I really love Red Zone. I think Red Zone just about does what I need.
It's a great product.
So that's why I haven't really gotten Sunday ticket. However, this isn't like an endorsement for them or anything. But I do really want to so that I can go to whichever game I want.
Yeah.
But I just haven't ever actually bought it. Now
I had it 1 year and it was amazing.
Well, they just recently made it to where you don't have to actually have DirecTV.
Yeah.
Right? Or did you have DirecTV when you had it?
I had DirecTV when I had it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like this last year, maybe last football season or just this football season is the first time that you don't have to actually have DirecTV to get Sunday ticket.
I want to say it was like offered on Prime.
It might be something like that.
I don't know.
It might have been something. But
we got to get to these games. We got to
so
stop stalling.
Amon Ross St. Brown is an absolute stud. He's an absolute stud. He has 8 straight games with at least 8 catches. And in those 8 games, he has a total of 8 touchdowns. One of them he has 2 touchdowns. One of them he has 0. But it's a total of 8 touchdowns. I believe it was, damn it. He either tied or broke the record for the most games straight with 8 catches. He tied it. So if he has one more, he'll break the record for, straight games with at least 8 catches, which is absolutely ridiculous.
That's impressive.
It's
consider Jerry Rice is out there.
Yeah, dude. Not only, well, considering a dude that was on the Lions as well, Calvin Johnson even, which I think he's up there probably in that list. But dude, he's doing absurd things. They had DeAndre Swift rolling. Jared Goff was rolling. The defense, like you said, Aiden Hutchinson doing his thing. Man, the Lions looked really good. Now, it was against the Commanders, but I'd say after last week, the Commanders looked pretty good last week. So,
yeah,
I'm really interested to see what the Lions have to offer coming forward, because right now, this 36-27 win over the Commanders was way bigger than a 36-27 win, because they were up big and the Commanders made a comeback but just couldn't come all the way back.
Yeah, they were able to hold on. They got that extra touchdown. Oh, interception by the Vikings.
Yes, I'm playing against Jalen Hurts, but he already scored way too much.
Yeah, that doesn't help me with my AJ Brown dilemma.
No, unless the Browns score, the Browns. You said AJ Brown. Unless the Vikings score, and then the Eagles have to go down the field to try and keep.
Maybe we'll get another comeback.
That could help, dude. Yeah. So the Lions and Commanders, that was one of the few comebacks that actually didn't end up winning, because Washington did make a comeback in that game.
Yeah.
Because I believe it was
22-0 at one point.
Yeah, 22-0. And then Carson Wentz actually, so it was kind of funny, Wentz against Goff. That was kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
And neither of them are on the team that drafted him.
We had a safety in this game.
Yeah, which doesn't happen too often.
There were 2 safeties yesterday.
Yeah, the other one we'll talk about.
Yeah.
That was absurd. That was crazy. Another game. So would you expect Tampa Bay and New Orleans to be tied 3-3 heading into the fourth quarter?
No. And
me neither.
The numbers on that game from the 2 quarterbacks are kind of crazy.
Not good.
Like Brady was 18 of 34, didn't throw for 200 yards. And then Winston 25 of 40 with 3 interceptions.
Not good ones too. They were bad.
Yeah. That's, sometimes you get good Winston, sometimes you get bad Winston.
Hey,
this was bad Winston.
Pain. There was pain everywhere.
Yeah. A lot of pain.
Yeah, but he's going to be the type of guy, kind of like, I'm not going to compare the two. However, Brett Favre held the touchdown record and the interception record for a long time.
Yeah, he was a gunslinger.
And yeah, that's what Jameis is. A couple years ago, he did have the most touchdown passes and the most interceptions in the season. And he's also thrown for the most yards in the season. So you can get good stuff out of Jameis. And I really liked what they had the first week. And really, this game, their defense kept him in it the whole game. It was a good game up until the fourth quarter.
So did I see the stat right that the Saints were 4-0 against Brady since he went to the Bucs?
Yes.
Did I see that stat?
I believe that is correct. Which
man.
is
so this
weird.
was his first win against the Saints as a
Buccaneer. and it wasn't pretty for him. And we actually had a football brawl in this one. Well, not really. It didn't turn into much of a brawl. But we had a fight. Did you see about that?
I didn't.
Okay, so at one point, Marcus Lattimore makes a good play. Looks like it could be pass interference, possibly. I thought it kind of maybe was, but really he kind of just made his defender go out of bounds.
Is that where Evans got ejected? Okay.
Yeah.
I saw that he got
So
ejected, but I forgot to go back and look at what happened.
well, Brady was kind of chirping a little bit. Well, the whole sideline was chirping at Marcus Lattimore because I mean they've had a rivalry for a while now. But the whole sideline was chirping at him, trying to say that it was pass interference. He's chirping back. Brady says something to him, and he kind of like shrugs Brady off. And then Leonard Fournette shoves Marcus Lattimore to kind of protect Brady. And then Marcus Lattimore shoves Leonard Fournette's helmet up into his face. And then out of nowhere, Mike Evans comes flying in and just drills Marcus Lattimore and gets him onto the ground. And then they end up uh, circling
Tussling,
each other, hugging, yeah, wrestling basically, and getting to the ground, and then
wrestling.
like some more guys, yeah, get to the ground. But it was pretty insane. And Mike Evans has been suspended one game. Apparently, he's going to appeal. Uh, to be honest, though, I mean, from what I saw, I thought that Leonard Fournette kind of initiated most of it. Because I mean, Tom Brady and Marcus Lattimore were kind of jawing back and forth.
Yeah.
But then Leonard Fournette shoved him from the side. And that's what kind of started all the physical stuff.
It's always
So,
the last guy that does something though that gets in trouble.
oh, well, no, Mike
Always
Evans
the last
deserved it
guy.
more than anybody else because he flew off the sideline. Like he flew out of nowhere and nailed Lattimore. And that's because they've actually gotten into it before and gotten suspended and stuff. So this isn't anything new. They both did get ejected from the game though. And that was at a pretty crucial point of the game. So that was pretty crazy. But
Yeah,
the
you don't
Bucks were
see
able
that a
to end
lot.
up, no, you don't, especially not in the NFL. Maybe in college, you might see a little bit more in college. Actually, not really either.
No,
They do a pretty
it
good job of
doesn't
keeping,
happen a
because
lot.
they got scholarships on the line and shit.
Right.
So, but no, Bucks ended up getting it done 20-10. It was a decent game. Patriots ended up beating the Steelers, which was not pretty either. That was an
So,
ugly game by both teams
so this is one I haven't actually seen the highlights of. I think it's the only game that I didn't actually get to get to
because
all
there
the
aren't
highlights
any.
of.
There aren't any highlights.
I mean, they found some because the video was still like 12 minutes, and I just wasn't able to watch that one.
Well, it wasn't pretty. So, who was it? Dang it. Nelson Aguilar actually had over 100 receiving yards for the Patriots.
Yeah, which I had to look that up because in my brain Nelson Aguilar is like 35 for some reason.
He was a rookie in like 17, right?
He's 29. He's 29, but for some reason in my brain, like I feel like I remembered him on the Eagles like 10 years ago.
Well, I mean, thanks to COVID, it feels like 2017 was like 10 years ago.
It really does. It really does.
So that's fair, really. But yeah, Patriots end up getting it done. Nothing pretty, no crazy, fantasy numbers out of that one or anything either. Like, but the Patriots won. It was, that used to be a huge AFC matchup. That used to be sometimes the AFC championship game.
Yeah.
Like, for years at a time. Not quite what it used to be, but hopefully, I think both of these teams are going to be better this season, and hopefully they play better because I thought they were going to.
Yeah, if they have the right guy as their quarterback of the future, these two teams can bounce back. But
I really like
remains
Mac
to be seen.
Jones. He still needs some work though. He does need it's so far it seems to be he needs weapons. He's not going to be like Brady and be able to bring guys like Wes Welker and Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman, people that you wouldn't normally know and you actually know them. That's not going to be Mac Jones' style. He needs some guys.
At least not yet.
It doesn't seem like it to me. I feel like he's the type of quarterback where he needs some playmakers, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah,
Because if
I
he
mean,
has them, he's going to be successful.
it's hard because in college, he ran like one of the best offenses in college history, but
True.
he had Jalen Waddle on one
He
side
had
and
weapons.
Javonte Smith on the other side, and Najee Harris in the backfield. So
Yeah,
it's hard to judge that. It's hard to judge a quarterback on that.
No,
But
you basically can't. Exactly.
no. So,
But they ended up winning. A win's a win. 17-14, Patriots over the Steelers.
speaking of two things. Speaking of fantasy points and Jalen Waddle,
Best
this
touchdown
Dolphins
celebration right now,
Ravens
by the way.
game, this Dolphins Ravens game was insane.
Absolutely insane. I thought it was over, especially after Lamar had a 79-yard touchdown run.
Yeah,
To put
it
him up
had
by
to
like
be
21
over,
points.
but then it wasn't.
Yeah,
Like,
not when Tua has something to say about it.
well, like these stats in this game. So Tua is 36 of 50, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns. He did have 2 interceptions early in the game. Is Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle the best 1-2 punch at
Yes.
receiver in the NFL, and it's not even close?
Almost ever if they keep this up.
I mean, Tyreek Hill, 11 catches, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle, 11 catches, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Absurd. That's absolutely absurd. And I actually, a dude in one of my leagues had Lamar Jackson, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, see, not
40
to make
burgers for all three of them.
Not to make it about me, but I'm going to make it about me for a second.
Toot that horn,
So, my quarterback is Lamar Jackson in fantasy.
Okay.
One of my receivers is Jalen Waddle. My team's name, Waddle Baby. And I was facing Tyreek Hill.
Oh.
So all 3 of them were in my matchup this week.
Damn. Yep. Gnarly, dude. That was a fantasy madhouse.
Yeah.
Super fun to watch.
Devin Duvernay going 103 yards to start off the game. It's a kick return.
Yeah. I saw a tweet and it was like, hey, welcome back Football Sunday and touchdown Devin Duvernay for the Baltimore Ravens.
Mark Andrews had 9 catches for 104 yards. Rashad Bateman had 4 catches, 108 yards. And
it was absurd.
Insane
Ravens,
numbers
though,
in this game.
They basically had the game, and then the Dolphins scored 28 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
If you lose containment on those 2 receivers, it's just going to be really hard to stop. And you get a quarterback that has talent, that maybe not always be the most consistent in Tua, but like he has all the talent. And if he gets into a rhythm with those 2 receivers, and why am I blanking on the running back? Because he made a couple of pretty good plays too.
It wasn't Chase Edmonds; it was Raheem Mostert.
Yeah,
Raheem Mostert actually ended up getting more of the play than Chase Edmonds yesterday.
Yeah, he had a couple of big plays down the stretch. Like that offense just got clicking, and I don't think there's any defense that'll stop that offense when it gets clicking.
Yeah, especially if Chase Edmonds is doing his thing too, because that's a really good 1-2 punch in the backfield right there. So you got a pretty damn good quarterback. People probably don't bring this up a lot, but you do have to realize being a lefty does change things for the defense.
Yes, it does.
It changes things for the defense. So you're going to have to adjust. It's going to make things different. It's going to be coming at a different angle. Instead of the left tackle being more important, the right tackle is more important. Like it changes things more than people probably think about. And so this offense is really hard to figure out because, dude, Tyreek Hill put it perfectly. Not exactly. Everything's flipped. To move on a little bit from that, the reason part of this offense is so great too, Tyreek Hill put it perfectly. He was the only weapon really besides Travis Kelce, in Kansas City. Well, with Jalen Waddle on the other side of him, dude, it opens up so much you could pick your poison.
You can't put a safety over the top of either one of them.
Exactly.
Unless you're going to put a safety over the top of both of them, and then you're going to nickel
dash
and
down the middle by
death.
Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert.
Yeah.
And then Tua can run too.
Right.
So like, dude, this Dolphins team is scary. Now, when they were down big to the Ravens at first, I was like, ooh, I don't know. Now that they did that, oh man, you better watch out for this Dolphins team. They're sitting at the top of the AFC East at 2-0. Well, they're tied with the Bills now.
They're still not better than the Bills. Let's not get too carried away, but.
Well, before tonight's game, they were sitting at top for a second.
But then the Bills are like, nah, shut up. We got this.
I can't wait to see them play twice this season.
Oh, dude, it's
It's
going to
going to
be
be, those are
fun.
going to be great. Those are going to be such good games.
It's going to be so fun.
Those should also be fantasy masterpieces, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Luckily, I've already faced um, Josh Allen this week, so I don't have to face him again for a while.
yeah, there you go. All right, let's move on. That was a crazy game, so I didn't mind that we spent a little bit extra time on it. That was nuts.
Yeah.
One of the hardest games to pick, too. I could not decide who was going to win that game. I got it wrong. I went ahead and went with Baltimore, the team that's kind of done it a little bit more recently. Um, but so we'll move on. Surprisingly, very, very surprisingly, we had a shutout. And I want to say very surprisingly, just because I was expecting a lot more from the Colts. The Jaguars shut the Colts out 24 to nothing.
You would have thought if that game was going to have a shutout, it would have went the other way.
Exactly. Now, the reason I say I would have thought surprisingly, this was the 8th time in a row, so 8 years in a row, that Indy has gone to Jacksonville and lost. Indy has not won in Jacksonville in 8 years.
God.
Over 8 years. This was the 8th time. That's like what? Like there's something going on there. Because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say last year. No, last year that was the game to win. They just had to win, and they were in the playoffs, and they lost.
Yeah, and it was against Jacksonville. Yeah,
in the season. Dude, what is going on? I want to
something
say
about
also,
that trip.
What I was going to say too, though, I feel like that's not the first time they've shut them out in recent years.
Probably not.
Like
I mean, there have been a couple of really bad Indy teams and a couple of really good
Sure.
Jags teams. Defense.
Well, there was one Jags team that ended up going to the AFC Championship that year, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah, but even in the lead up to that year, they had a really good defense for 3 or 4 years in a row. They just couldn't score.
True. Blake Bortles was garbage time champion.
Right. Yeah. Fantasy monster for a while.
Yep. Fantasy and real football sometimes do not mix.
I think I'm going to lose by 0.14. Sad face.
Hey, cross your fingers for that stat correction.
You're right.
So we won't say too much about the Colts and Jags. I will say the Jags do look pretty good, so I don't want to discredit them.
Trevor Lawrence looked pretty good.
He did look good.
Which
Christian Kirk is looking like he is worth every dollar that they paid him. Yeah. Christian Kirk is looking like a number one receiver down there in Jacksonville.
They may not be as bad as we thought.
Yeah, and James Robinson looked pretty good. He actually out-touched ETN. So I like this.
They still got to work ETN into this.
I agree.
Coming off the injury, they got to slow it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not upset that he got out-touched right now because he's just building up.
He's basically a rookie coming off ACL, was it?
Yeah.
An ACL? Or was it Achilles?
Yeah, it was training camp. ACL. Now, Achilles, that would be even more impressive.
Right. Achilles is bad.
Yeah. But Jonathan Taylor, I believe, still ended up getting over 100 total yards in the game. Matt Ryan, though, just did not look good. They couldn't score, obviously. Michael Pittman Jr. was out of the game. So they literally just had nobody to really get the ball to even kind of balance out the run and the pass. So it just was a really, really bad game for the Colts and a pretty good showing for the Jags.
Yeah. Speaking of Matt Ryan, did you see that the Falcons almost came back from 28-3?
No, I didn't realize that was the score at some point.
It was 28-3.
Oh man.
And then they had the ball at 25-31. They had the ball with a chance to go down and win the game, but they didn't.
Right. Anyway, and then that was the one.
It was 28-3 at one point, and they almost came back, which would have been the funniest thing ever.
That would have been the funniest thing ever. Did you see something else that has to do with that was actually pretty damn funny?
No.
Okay, so Matt Ryan passed for 60,000 yards. He's like one of few to do it now, right?
Yeah.
Well, the ball number the football ball number, and it's sitting
Just
there in the Hall of Fame
283,
in the picture.
three,
It's
328.
283.
Oh.
It's 283. Like, are you kidding me? That is so funny. That's so like
it's going to follow him around the rest of his life.
it writes itself. Shit writes itself, dude. You don't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. No, and then so back to the Rams and Falcons though. They did win 31-27. So that's the one where the Rams they took intentional safety from like they were on like the 10-yard line.
So
and he ran all the way back to try and run the clock out, right?
So the Falcons had blocked a punt earlier in the game. And I think that the punter was hurt, so they didn't have a punter, like a real punter. And so they figured
run the clock out.
Better chance of just run as much clock as possible, give them the 2 points, and then somebody will kick it deep, block it and score. Or if you don't have an actual punter, like who knows what's going to happen when you try and punt it? It may go 10 yards and they've got the ball at the 20. True. Instead of kicking the ball off or punting the ball off after the safety, at worst case scenario, they're at the 40.
Right.
If somebody shanks it or something.
True. I mean, it was
because I thought the same thing, but like that the blocked punt, the block punt, like it was a violent block punt. It was.
I think he flipped the punter. Yeah. Flipped his. So that's probably when he got hurt.
Like he broke him in half, basically.
Yeah,
is what it looked like.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Being a punter is a dangerous game.
I think
because they can do anything they want to you if they get the ball first.
That's true. I will say one more about that game real quick. I know we kind of got to keep going, but Cooper Kupp, 11 receptions, not missing a beat. Allen, he actually had 2 touchdowns, 108 yards. Dude, looking like a beast. Allen Robinson actually finally found the end zone for him too. So the Rams are going to be good.
Yeah.
The Falcons came back late. I don't think that was a sign of anything too much.
No, the Rams are going to be fine.
Right.
Let's see. We are kind of
talk about your New York games,
but yeah, let's do the let's do the Browns and Jets real quick.
All right.
So the Browns are up 30-17 with a minute and a half to go. They had the ball. They were up by a touchdown. They had the ball near, like they were at the 16 or something like that, 16 yards away from the end zone.
Right.
Nick Chubb left and he gets into the end zone and you're like, okay, they're up 13, minute and a half. This game's over. No.
Not if you got Super Bowl winning quarterback Joe Flacco on the other side of the ball.
Mr. Elite himself.
Mr. Fu Manchu. Dude, that was very impressive. And shout out Garrett Davis? Or no, not Garrett
Garrett
Davis.
Wilson?
Garrett Wilson, dude.
Garrett Wilson from Ohio State.
Dude looked good. Dude looked really good. He looked very impressive.
Especially in that fourth quarter.
Yes. And I mean, he was
didn't he catch both touchdown passes in the fourth quarter?
I'm pretty sure he did, yeah.
In the comeback?
Yep. So
impressive.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I heard it on one of my fantasy podcasts, so I won't take full credit. That's another thing where real football and fantasy football don't mesh. Everyone was really excited that Nick Chubb scored in fantasy.
Right.
And some Browns fans might have been thinking, I don't know, maybe he should have gone down.
I thought that at first. I thought that at first that, like, go down, you win the game. But, I mean.
That's not football. That's not how you do it.
Who would ever in that moment look at the end zone, see wide open grass, and say, nah. Every single person's going for the touchdown. And plus, not only that, just you're up 13 with a minute and a half to go.
Against the Jets.
Yeah.
With their backup technically quarterback.
Yeah.
It
Like,
is Joe Flacco, but
nobody in their right mind would ever expect that you could possibly lose that game.
right, I'm right there with you. But the Jets did the impossible, and
So I saw a stat.
here we are.
Saw a stat that, and I don't know if
Okay.
you saw this or not, but teams with a 13-point lead and a minute and a half to go
Like 200 and something.
since 2010, I think it was, are like 201-0.
Not anymore.
And then so they missed the extra point that would have made it 14. And like the stat that I saw was teams that were up 14 with a minute and a half to 2 minutes to go were like 383-1. You know what the one was?
What?
The
Oh,
Browns in 2001.
oh, I did. I heard them talking about that on the radio. I think actually, dude.
So they're the only team since
Oh,
2010 to lose a game where they were up 13 with a minute and a half to go. And they're the only team in the last 25 years or whatever to lose after being up 14 with a minute and a half to go. The Browns.
Yikes! Yikes!
Just
No
just
boy,
Browns
no.
things.
Yep. Speaking of the Browns, their former quarterback is now 0-2.
Yeah.
Lost
Yeah.
to the New York Football Giants, who
Yeah.
actually looked pretty good.
I'm gonna be bold here.
Uh-oh.
The Giants are still one of the worst teams in the NFL.
That's not bold.
2-0, they are still one of the worst teams. They are the luckiest 2-0 team I've ever seen in my life. Like the only reason they are 2-0, so they started the game with a fumble on the kickoff return for Carolina, and the Giants only had like 25 yards to get to the end zone to score. They ended up with a field goal. First Carolina drive, another fumble at like the 35 or something like that. Still only a field goal. And then there was another play later in the game where I think they picked off Baker, or I don't remember if Baker even had a interception. No, Baker didn't throw an interception. There was another fumble or something else weird happened that gave the Giants the ball at like the 50, and they still only got a field goal. That offense is bad. Outside of Barkley, that offense is bad.
Yeah, they not
lucked into
wrong.
this game for sure, and they kind of lucked into the Tennessee one too.
Well, hopefully they stay bad because we get to play on Monday night next week. So
right, the luck's gonna run out at some point.
Hopefully it does then. But
what'd you think of Cooper Rush? Now that you mentioned the Cowboys, I thought he looked pretty decent.
I thought he looked decent. I
expected nothing.
So it shows that him and Noah Brown obviously have been doing second team reps together for quite a while now. And I'm cool with that. And I like the fact that they were able to display that in a real game and get the dub. I mean, we did what needed to be done to win. Now, I will say the defense stepped up huge. Our defense is really good. I really like this Cowboys defense. That Trayvon Diggs tackle on that third down, dude, was awesome. That was awesome. You're one-on-one. It's 3 yards. Like literally, I want to say almost 7 times out of 10 nowadays, the offensive guy wins that battle.
Most of the time, yeah. It's a high percentage.
It's more than not. But Stephon Diggs stepped into that tackle, made the play, and saved the Cowboys the game, basically. But Cooper Rush, I thought he looked good. He looked serviceable. He looked like he actually can go out there and win some football games for us until Dak is back. Obviously, he's 2-0 in his career now. So he did what needed to be done. I will say my boy Micah Parsons is making a big statement to try and be
Penn
Defensive
State
Player of the Year. Well, yeah, Penn State. Dude, he he literally, even if he wasn't the one making the play, he was disrupting the line of scrimmage the
Yeah,
whole
all the time.
game. The
People
whole
are
game.
people are going to think I'm a Penn State fan, not a Texas fan, by the way.
Yeah, probably.
I just believe in them.
Dude, so I've noticed that like so far in the first 2 weeks, they're not trying to run to the side of the ball that Micah's on.
I mean, why would you?
But you know what the Cowboys are doing? They're putting DeMarcus Lawrence on that side, one of the best run stoppers in the NFL.
Yeah.
So like, I love it. I love it, dude. So, dude,
Yeah, and the
I'm
Bengals
digging it.
didn't have a ton of success trying to run the ball either.
No, and the Bengals didn't have a lot of success at all. They got one touchdown
It's
late.
true.
That like literally our defense. That's what does make me a little bit nervous about Cooper Rush. We should have been way ahead with what our defense was doing.
Yeah,
because
but
there were some.
can't count
Obviously,
on that.
going down and scoring on the first 2 drives was great because we didn't even score a single touchdown week 1. So that felt awesome to be able to do that, especially going forward on 4th and 2 on the first drive, like just over midfield, like
Ballsy.
super ballsy. And I love it. So I'm glad we did that. And then we went down there and scored. And then we scored on the next drive. But then we did get a little stale and we did get a little stagnant. And that's when I thought the Bengals were about to come back and just make it look like the game really.
Yeah. Did you feel the whole
look at
time
the
like the
teams-
Bengals were going to win the game?
Yeah, definitely. I felt like honestly,
Like
though,
even up 17-3 at halftime, like the Bengals are going to win the game.
Oh no, the 17-3. Like I said, with how much our defense had done at that point, we should have been up more.
Yeah.
That's why I was nervous the whole time. And then it showed because we didn't even do anything but kick a field goal at the very end of the second half to win it. We didn't score anything else. So it makes me a little bit nervous, but then again, hey, we pulled out the W. Maher, 2 50-yard field goals. Actually, I think he only has 3 50-yard field goals now on the season.
Yeah.
So the Cowboys, hey, I don't want to say they necessarily looked good, but they got the job done and they didn't necessarily look bad.
Just tread water until Dak's back.
Yeah, and hopefully at that point, him and CD can actually get on a really good page because CD is in a little bit of a funk. He had a better game yesterday, but still not quite what you need out of your number one receiver.
Yeah, that's true.
Even with a backup quarterback.
Well, Gallup coming back at some point should help that too.
True.
If Noah Brown's going to be good, then I mean Noah Brown's been a year away for like 5 years now. Maybe he's finally here.
I mean, hey, sometimes it does take that long for some guys, and
Yeah.
Who knows? That could be. He did look good. He looked good. It's funny. I kept saying, "Ooh, Kevin Ogletree."
Right. But yeah, we're like an hour and 15 into this, right?
I think so. So let's try and wrap it up real quick. Unfortunately, Trey Lance breaks his ankle.
Yeah,
Season-ending surgery. Sucks for the 49ers. However, somehow they lucked into keeping Jimmy Garoppolo, and I like Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he would have been a starting quarterback in the NFL at some point this season, whether it was for the 49ers or somebody else, I wasn't sure. Obviously, they're super stoked that ended up going the way that it did for them. They ended up winning 27-7. Seattle looked just like the Seattle we thought they were going to look like last week. They just happened to end up having to play Russ game 1, so they brought it.
Yeah.
So not too much out of that game.
If we need to be done, I just want to get one more thing in. Did you see the Kyler Murray 2-point conversion?
Dude. So everyone's
it was like 85 total yards, I think somebody said.
Yeah, I think it was like 89 yards. It was over 20 seconds. But not only that, he had another play where it was like over 20 seconds.
Yeah, there was 2 of them.
Yeah, that was over 20. Dude, that was awesome. I mean, I'm sorry, Raiders fans.
He might be the most elusive quarterback the NFL has seen since Mike Vick.
Yeah, I mean, partially
just sheer elusiveness.
Yeah, he is, dude. One of them, Max Crosby, had him dead to rights, and like he literally like leaned over.
I think that was the 2-point conversion.
I think his helmet touched the ground. No, because then he would have been down. But his helmet damn near touched the ground, and he was able to get out of that and keep running around. Yeah, absolutely
It's
absurd.
insane.
It was a crazy game. That was a crazy game. I feel
That
bad
was
for you Raiders
another big
fans
comeback.
because y'all should have won that game. Kyler Murray just ended up balling out at the end. Our first overtime game, right? Or no, we had a tie. We had 2 overtime games last week. What am I?
Right. Yeah, we had a couple of them last week.
That was the only overtime game yesterday, though. And then Packers just made the Bears look like they were supposed to look this year.
Justin Fields only threw the ball 11 times. I didn't get to watch the game.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. I didn't get to watch the whole game either. I went out and hung out with my grandpa for a little bit.
How does a team that's trailing for most of the game only throw the ball 11 times? That doesn't make sense.
They weren't necessarily trailing that big most of the game.
Even still, though,
they stuck to their game plan.
I guess if their game plan was to run the clock out, then they did that successfully. Yeah.
So
although the Packers did have like 37 minutes of time of possession, so they kept the ball a lot.
A lot. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Russ got his first dub with the Broncos over the Texans. That was kind of a boring game.
Didn't look good though.
No, it didn't. It was 9-9 at one point. Like, ugh, nasty. That's just gross. They ended up scoring though to win it. And then we had the Bills absolutely beat the shit out of the Titans, 41-10 or 41-7. I gave them too much credit. And then the Eagles, I'm pretty sure the Eagles Vikings was 24-7 at the half, wasn't it?
Let's see.
I think it was at least close to something like that.
Yeah, there was no scoring in the second half.
Yeah, it was 24-7 at the half, and then that was it.
So just wasted the last hour and a half of everybody's lives. Could have just called it at halftime.
They could have. Yep.
Like, all right, guys, that's enough. Let's go home.
So yeah, that was a pretty fun week of football. That, like I said, I mean, obviously it happened to be the one weekend for college that they didn't have really that many, good matchups, that the NFL decided to go off and have a bunch of comebacks and an overtime game and craziness. But it still makes me feel like that's probably why I lean NFL. I think I finally learned, because I never knew. I was like, I like the NFL more, but I really don't know why. Now I feel like I kind of know why.
I just like the insanity and so many games happening like college football is the essence of everything everywhere all at once.
I guess you could call it fall madness.
Yeah. And it's every week almost. I mean, there are a couple of duds, like this week was kind of a dud for college football, but that just means
football everywhere though. Like,
but
you
then
said, I mean,
like fucking last weekend was one of the craziest college football seasons like ever.
That's true.
Like full stop ever.
I mean,
we needed a break from that absolute insanity. So
but
we
then
can
the
gear
NFL
up for next
brought it.
week. Yeah.
Yeah. Then the NFL brought it and let us feel good about it.
There was what, 3 20+ point comebacks today that succeeded in coming back. And then there was like 2 or 3 others that were 20+ that like made it a 1-score game at the end.
Yeah. Really the biggest difference for games was the primetime games.
Yeah.
Last night, the Bears Packers, and then tonight, these 2 games. All those were kind of, which is kind of funny that they would have much rather had that the other way around.
Right.
But it is what it is. And that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun this week. Yeah, dude. Football. I love football.
Yep. Got a few more weeks of it.
Just a few. We're actually getting close to basketball. Jeez, man. We're like a month away.
Yeah. I don't know how much basketball we really need to talk until like Christmas Day, but
true.
We'll talk a little bit, but we've already got a pretty full slate.
I'll be talking Luka. I'll be
at least let's finish baseball and then basketball can replace baseball.
All right.
Deal?
I'm not going to shake on it, but we'll lean that way.
Fist bump over the screen.
Not yet.
All right. Well, is that about it?
I think that's about it, man.
I think we pretty much got everything covered in like
Yeah,
an hour and 20 minutes without a break this time.
right. But hey, this is our first real like Zoom one.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna have to get a timer so that we actually know how long we've been recording. Because I have no idea.
Me neither. I'm surprised it doesn't tell me somewhere on here.
But you know what?
I
I
can
already
pause it.
I got the bigger space on the podcast hosting site, so we've got
We're good to go.
got plenty of space.
Good to go.
Yeah, good to go.
All right, well,
All right, man.
Sport your beards out there.
Yep. It's gonna be a good season. Beards out.
Beards out.